Hey everybody, it's Joe Malillo here, your host of Infamous Indy, the podcast all about true crime in Indiana, and I am so honored that you would stop by on the Patreon account and subscribe and be a patron. I have so much to tell and so many stories to give, and your help will help me do that in a different way. My goal is to become the best true crime podcast out there. I'm trying to change the way true crime is viewed in the podcast arena. Oftentimes, a lot of podcasts will just focus on the negatives, the gross facts, the stuff that's fear-mongering, the things that really, really get us. And that's true. It got me. That's how I started listening to true crime podcasts and then eventually started watching a lot of true crime documentaries. But we need to take a personal approach to true crime here on this podcast. And the reason being, not only are the people, the victims affected, but communities, families, entire places and organizations are changed forever by these horrific events that happen every once in a while. So what can we do to learn from them and ultimately try to stop them from ever happening again? And that's what this podcast is about, and that's where your money and your pledge will go to making this podcast the best that you will ever have. I'll be updating this page as I continue. It's kind of a new thing for me, so I'm going to try to give you different options to get different content that other places, or I should say other people won't be able to get, just normal listeners, but my patrons will be able to get different content, and I'll start providing that once I actually get some patrons. But I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope if you have any questions, remember to go to the Infamous Indy Pod on Instagram, Infamous Indy with Joe Malillo on Facebook, also the YouTube page, and all the other pages. And you can also just go to infamousindy.com and just email me directly. I love to hear from my people, and I'd love to hear suggestions, especially when it's about Indiana. As I always say at the end of every podcast, make sure, stay safe.